My name's Ed, but you got my Sunday name because I did it on a Sunday and it'll make my mum happy. So, yeah, I'm a social worker from the East Riding of Yorkshire Council. I work with adults. I'm also known as a best interest assessor, and that's to do with deprivation of liberty, but that gets really technical, so I won't go into that because to do with mental capacity, because my background's in Mental Capacity Act. I'm also an ad hoc lecturer, I did the odd bit of lecturing at the University of Hull because I've recently finished my PhD at Hull. And it was based on an ethnography of a seaside town, people working age illnesses in a seaside town, and how the local environment shapes experience of illness. But aside from that, long background in social care. Am I not hearing?
No, I'll put that one on.
Shall I just shout?
Yeah.
Did you get me from the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah. So long background in social care. From a very early age, actually. It's been a big part of my life. So this is, in a sense, a big shout out for people in social care who are thinking about embarking on a research career. I just want to give them an encouragement to do so. Social care and social workers. So shout out for social care, social workers, and for older entrants. So I started my PhD at 45. I hoped to get it finished by 50. I failed. I was 50 plus 3 months. So a shout out for older entrants, a shout out for career shifters and people with specific learning difference. Sorry for the abbreviation. Because whilst I was on the PhD, I was assessed as having dyspraxia, and Natalie, wasn't you saying you dyslexia? And yeah, it does make life harder, but you can get there. And as Marcus Aurelius says, or said, he's dead now, isn't he? Very dead. Said, the obstacle is the way, and obstacles can help you grow. One of the reasons why I want to promote social care is because there's such a deep knowledge of service user realities out there, and a deep knowledge of working reality that I think is just untapped. And power dynamics, because we all know social carers, care assistants, whether working residential care or domiciliary care, are terribly undervalued, but yet are critical to the running of not only just community care services in terms of social services, but also the National Health Service as well. We need each other. Now, I've got little pictures here because these were the backdrop to my formative years. Anyone remember the Spectrum? Yes. The Walkman and the VHS cassette. Yes, that was the backdrop to my life. I struggled at school. YTS, sorry, another abbreviation thing. That's Youth Trainee Scheme, and it was introduced by Norman Tebbit. Anyone remember Norman Tebbit? He introduced it in the 80s. I got £29.50 for a full week's work because I wasn't encouraged to stay at school. I struggled at school. I did work experience at 14 doing the tea trolley, and I did the tea trolley on a Sunday every day in a care home for the next 2 years, and then became a YTS carer before I was actually 16. I mean, you wouldn't do it now, but there we go. So I was a local authority carer for 19 years, in the days when the local authority actually ran care homes. In those days, every community had a local authority care home, not any longer. And yes, like I said, I struggled at school. I struggled with my comprehension. I was very, very slow. Anyone remember Asterix? Asterix was probably the zenith of my literary powers. It's a comic book. I just didn't have the concentration power, poor working memory. So I just struggled, yeah. I worked very, very hard though, very, very diligent, and I worked very, 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 very hard. And I always had a passion for learning, always interested in the news. I was very political. So it was all up here, but I couldn't get it out on paper, and I struggled to articulate it as well. That got better as I've got older, thankfully. But yeah, so anyway, I was doing lots of night classes through my 20s, adult ed, and I started getting better slowly. and I did manage to get a BA and then an MA. But I was still working in care homes. I was doing mainly night shifts as I got older, actually, my late 20s, early 30s. And then things changed for me, really, just to talk about my scenic journey into research, when I was offered redundancy when the care home started to be closed. From the local authorities were shedding the care homes. And also, sadly, a separation. It released some money for me to afford me to do a social work MA. And that really, I think, more than the other part-time study I was doing, that really seeded the interest, so to speak, of an academic research career. So yes, I was successful doing a social work MA, did social work for about 8-9 years, again with adults, and I bumped into my old MA supervisor in Beverley, because I was working in Beverley at the time, and she just said to me, "Why don't you apply for the PhD scholarship?" I thought, oh, and that's what I did. And I was lucky to get the scholarship, and it was the multimorbidity research cluster under the health faculty at the university. And yeah, it just went from there, really. That's how I did my ethnography of a seaside town that I'm not supposed to name because it's pseudonymized, even though I've got certain pictures that will come up in a minute. But yes, research ethics actually said it doesn't need pseudonymizing, but my supervisor said it does. Okay, 2-minute warning, thank you. Yeah, so that was an amazing experience to do that ethnography, to immerse myself in the community. Dyspraxia, yeah, because I was assessed as having dyspraxia whilst doing the PhD, and it was like giving me rocket fuel, because all of a sudden I got some support, and I didn't realise any of this. I had no idea. I just thought I was a bit slow and a bit ditzy, and I just had to work harder at everything else. So with a bit of software, with a bit of support, I flew, and yeah, I handed in my PhD on time, passed the Viva with no corrections. So pretty good, you know. So it's a shout out for people who have these obstacles, because we can get through them. You just need some validation and some self-acceptance. And this is it. No, I'm running out of time. But basically, it's my ethnography was how the place shapes the experiences of illness, and it is the intersection of forms of capital, social, economic, cultural, and natural capital. When I say natural capital, how the environment shapes our lives and how it intersects with people's own biographies and experience of illness. And it was fantastic working with local community charities in that seaside town, working in a food bank, social supermarket, a dropping service. Just an amazing experience. And if anyone gets the opportunity to do this, to do a PhD and to go into a research career, just go for it. Yeah, so I went back to practice for a year, nearly finished, went back to practice for a year. Great to go back, but now I'm looking at embarking on research opportunities again, because I do see myself as a practitioner researcher. I want to dip in and out, so to speak. And I'm doing a bit of lecturing at Hull at the moment, and yeah, just looking for future research opportunities. Something is in the wind at the moment, but I can't say what it is yet. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for having me. Advice, I would just say, yes, obstacle is the way, patience. And somebody else said today, I think it's really right, the PhD is not the final destination. I was so focused on finishing the PhD, I often neglected to think what you're going to do after. And it can delay things. So just give yourself a bit of space. But I understand that, because you do get really focused on finishing, ploughing all your energies into writing that thesis. Anyway, thank you very much.